It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the salutatorian for the class of 2009, a young man with great versatility, talent, quick wit, and intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, the salutatorian for the class of 2009, Daniel John Little.
"'Twas a certain Friday evening, and lined up in the hall were 12 scores of graduates, standing up proud and tall. They turned and they chattered and they told one another how they missed them next year, how they're loved like a brother. They parade in straight rows like a troop of trained geese, high-fiving each other while taking their seats. The ceremony is long, people stand up and talk, but soon enough it's time for the students to walk. They stroll one by one across the stage with the speakers, and many a girl wishes she'd not worn heels but sneakers. It's each one's proudest moment in the spotlight on the stage, feeling joyful as a bird lit out of its cage. Then they sit down again till the commencement ends, actually paying attention and applauding for friends. When the ritual is over, they stand where they're at and move the long tassel on their regal square hat. Then they all leave the room bearing smiles that shine. They leave the graduated class of '09. Yeah! Cheerful greetings to the graduates of the class of 2009. Teachers, administrators, parents, and everyone else, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, all those relationships you learned in the Spanish 1 course pack, stepbrothers-in-law, our lovely musicians. You wouldn't think it's such a strenuous task to play a lovely march by Edward Elgar ad nauseum as the graduates slowly saunter in. I sat up there for 4 years, starting when I was in 8th grade, in the mind of a middle schooler. Graduation is a distant thought, if it's a thought at all. 4 years seems like a long time, until you see them zip by, like something that zips by really fast. Like Mr. Marzek. People have tried to tell me that in the long run, high school does not really matter that much. And then they go on about how your life doesn't even really start until college. And I say, whoa, I don't want to get into a pro-life issue here. But clearly, life starts at least when you're born. Therefore, based on life expectancy, you've lived almost a quarter of your life by the time you're done with high school. And of all the first quarter of life years, the teenage years are the most valuable. Seriously, hear me out on this. We, as members of Western society, divide up time into decades. When one decade starts and one ends, it's a big deal. Your life is divided up into decades as well. In fact, later in life, convincing others that you're 1 decade younger than you actually are is the primary goal. Anyway, the teen years get gypped in this whole decade issue. While you're your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, etc., they all get 10 years. Your teenage years only get 7. Let's think about it. We've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 7 years. And yet, when you look back on life, those 7 years get as much weight as any other decade. Therefore, we can conclude that the time of middle school and high school is the most important time of your life. Think about it. You're expected to do in 7 years what everyone else has to do in 10. But now this speech has become a complete downer because I'm up here telling you that the most important part of your lives are up. Which is not true. Not true. I said the years were valuable, not that the rest of your life was not. And conveniently, society gives you an added bonus when your teenage years are up. freedom. You can literally do whatever you want, though everything has a consequence. If what you choose to do happens to be against the laws of society, or God forbid, the laws of physics, then the consequences will not be very good. The price of freedom is responsibility. You must take credit for what you do and what you do not do. In the other 3 quarters of life, you don't have mom and dad, or teachers, or anyone to bail you out, and so responsibility is key. That's really what we celebrate today, if you ask me. Responsibility. A skill learned from our parents and our teachers and counselors and administrators. The most important lesson of the valuable teenage years. Something so important that we celebrate it by gathering all of us together in one giant room and wearing goofy square hats with dangly doodads on them. It's thoroughly amusing watching all of you walk in wearing them, and I'm sure you'll agree when you walk across the stage in a while. But before that, I put the thank yous at the end of my speech. At this time, you actually have to do this too, Wasco said so. At this time, everyone wearing a goofy outfit, which is the graduates, look around toward at least one of your friends and wave at them. Go ahead. Is that fun? Okay, that's good. Getting through life without friends is nearly impossible. Just ask Tom Hanks in Castaway. Now find your teachers, they're in the back. And there's some up here too. And give them a round of applause. Without them, you wouldn't be here wearing the goofy hat. And now, this is the most important thank you, because the smartest people in the entire world are currently in this room. And we don't realize it until later in life, because they use their ninja brain powers to trick us into thinking that they don't know anything. But I've observed numerous friends and family members suddenly find their parents to be the greatest people ever after they graduate. So, at this time, you all need to stand up. Not the parents, you can stay sitting. And turn around because they're sitting over there. And you have to give them all an air hug. Air hug first. Like this. And now give them the standing ovation that they deserve. At this time, you can all sit back down, and so will I. Congratulations, class of 2009.